You're back and better than ever.
Why can't I see you, Mare?
Did you hit the little turn button?
Which one?
Is there a
This
little
is
button?
going exactly how I thought it would go.
Um, Hold on. How I see you? Do you turn the phone around? Like the little no. Like on here, there's like a little.
Oh, Mare.
I'm not sure. It's like the little button that looks like a on the top left corner. Is there something in the top left corner? There's like a little arrow with
No.
two arrows.
No. Hold on.
Okay, the start of this is a bit of a horror show, but it only makes for more entertainment because when Lauren Shehadi does figure out how to reverse her phone, this is going to be great stuff. Let's give this one more try. I feel like I have a lot of faith here that this is going to be it. I see. How about now?
Okay, I see you. Can you see me?
I can see you, but I only see this much of your head. So
Oh, shoot.
there you go. How many sports reporters does it take to figure out your
Mare, I miss you.
I love it. What have you been up to? I feel like I got to see you a couple times throughout the baseball season.
I know.
But as we know, there is no baseball season right now because of COVID-19. So I haven't had a chance to have lunch with you, to catch up with you. What's been going on?
I get to see you. I get to watch your shows. I've been hanging out. I'm in Maine, taking some walks, nature hikes, soothing the soul during this difficult time. And I feel like we talk to players all the time on our MLB Central virtual show. We talked to Josh Donaldson and Amir Garrett this week, and they say we're training like, the games are going to start tomorrow. And that's kind of what I'm doing, eating right, getting ready, staying up on my storyline so that when we get the call, we'll be ready to go.
Is it weird doing those virtual shows? Because we're doing the same thing at Guest. And it's kind of awesome that we figured out a way to do it, but there is something about it that's still a little bit weird, right?
Yeah, 100%, Mary. Like the banter is lost in translation. Can you see me, by the way? Am I doing this right?
Yeah, you're good. You're good.
That's a no, by the way. I see half of your ear. Yeah, because the banter is lost in translation. You try and be funny and witty.
Yeah.
It doesn't work because there's a delay. So nothing is funny and witty. We're trying to figure it out. Same for you?
Same. And we try to plan it out, but depending on your internet connection,
yeah,
how fast it is, there's sometimes those lags where it's just not the same as sitting right next to somebody in a booth or in a studio. And like you spend so much time with your coworkers.
Yeah.
I have to imagine you're missing some of those guys, right?
Totally. I feel like when we leave each other in October, it's like school's out, and we don't see each other or talk to each other much for 6-ish months, 5 months. So when we see each other, we can't wait. So we're kind of itching to get back together in the studio when it happens.
Now, I know you had a really big interview today. You talked to one of your idols. Tell me all about Cal Ripken and how he's doing.
The idol. I mean, he's the reason I was a sports fan. I grew up in D.C., in the DC metro area. And I remember he was larger than life, but he had, I always say this, like a blue collar attitude and work ethic. Imagine working 16 years without a single day off. 16 years. Whit Merrifield is the current longest consecutive games played streak. It's like 243 or something. And this stat popped up on Twitter and he wrote, "Hey Cal, like I'm coming for you." We asked him about that today. 243. Imagine 16 years without a single day off. And I remember when he was going to break Lou Gehrig's consecutive games played streak growing up in DC, everyone wanted a ticket to that game, right? But the problem is, this, games get rained out and things get postponed and there's double headers and stuff like that. So you had to get tickets to the 3 games after just to make sure that you were there. But it was a who's who when he broke the streak, a 20-minute standing ovation. I was just in awe of him and the way he just went about his craft. And we got to talk to him today. I fumbled through a bunch of questions. It was good stuff. I was so nervous.
At any point in time were you like, I adored you, I'm speaking out right now?
Yeah, I know. I didn't get 2 seconds and I go, I'm obsessed with you. I realized you're on Twitter yesterday. He's like, relax.
Now, did you go to that game when he broke the streak or you watched
against the Angels? I was 12 years old. I'll never forget it. And I just remember there were presidents, there were dignitaries, everyone was there. It was one of those things when baseball transcends into life, it's the front page of every newspaper, not just the sports page. And that was that. And it's just incredible. He told me today, because I asked
When
about
I was
it.
on the phone
Exactly.
yeah.
About 21:31, he was watching it because he tweeted a picture of him and his pup watching the game. And I said, when you look at that, what's the memory? What's the moment that sticks out for you? Because we all remember where we were and what we were feeling. He said, you know what? I didn't want to watch it back because I have my own interpretation of that moment and that memory. He said, but it was the first time. He watched it back yesterday on ESPN, and all the memories came flooding back. It's pretty cool.
Cool. People are saying they miss you, Shehadi. They miss you.
I miss you.
You know, the only moment that I can really think of, there were two of them as far as historical moments that I've been a
Yeah.
part of that were very special. Jeter's final game at
Jeter.
Yankee Stadium, and then Mo, when Pettit and Jeter went and got him on the mound, his final game at Yankee Stadium. It was that same kind of feel. It was everywhere. It was on every sports page. It was on every newspaper front page for the most part. It was a huge deal.
Yeah, of course. And I remember you had to interview him after, and I was like, I do not envy her because those questions are always going to be watched and remembered so much. You have to, nail it exactly what you want to say and get the emotion of the moment. You did an amazing job as always.
Thank you. I'm wondering, do you have the ticket stub from that game? If you do, you must get it signed and you must get a picture. You have to come to Baltimore when he's working a game, get a picture with him, and then put it in a nice little, I
I
mean,
need to make that happen. He came to studio 2 years ago, and it was like around my birthday. And my coworkers had him sing happy. He's probably like, "Who's Lauren?" And they had him sing happy birthday, and they played it live on there. I was crying. I was crying, couldn't keep it together. But
now, did you play softball or baseball growing up?
yeah,
Because
yeah,
yeah.
you did, right?
Yeah, I played softball, and then I have to be honest, it was a slow game, and I had a lot of energy, so I stopped it for volleyball.
Did you really? Yeah,
I did, yeah.
I played basketball and softball my whole life. I was going to play at a small school, Lafayette, but I wanted to go to a big time college, so I went to University of Florida, and I wasn't good enough to play there, so I stopped there. And that's kind of how my love for broadcasting came. I thought if I can't play it, there's a void. Maybe I can talk about it. So I joined the College of Communications in UF, and my first interview was Steve Spurrier.
Oh wow.
I love him. He's a man of few words. And I was shaking. I was shaking. And I was like, Coach. And I asked some dumb question. And right before I asked it, he goes, hurry it up. Make this quick. I was like, and after the interview, I was like, I'm not cut out for this. But you live and you learn, I guess, right?
It seems like it's worked out okay for you. So you go to school in Florida. Before we get into your broadcasting career, what was college Shehadi like?
Oh God, I'm boring. I've always gone to bed at 8:30. No partying, never drinking. Didn't drink till I was 21 years old. My dad took all of my friends out to have my first drink, and he would tell his friends like she doesn't do any of that kind of stuff, and they would say, yeah, right. But I was just kind of good, clean fun, I guess.
Good for
Yeah,
you. Good
yeah.
for you. I like it. I like it. Studying, getting all your papers done early.
Let's not go that far. Same as you, Mare?
No, no. Sorry, Mom and Dad, who are probably watching, but they know my act. They've been around me long enough.
You did okay for yourself, too.
I wasn't a bad kid by any stretch. I played D1 volleyball in college. So I had to manage my time in some capacity.
Yeah.
But I've always been, since I was a little kid, a procrastinator. And I would never do anything until the absolute last minute. It's almost like I love the pressure of wanting to know whether or not I was going to complete the task on time. And it's almost a little bit like fitting that I got into live TV because it's the same type of adrenaline leading up to the deadline, essentially.
Do you still do that, though? Like if you're prepping for a game, it's night before?
Oh, night before would be generous. It's before I get on that bus, probably. But I'm around the Yankees so much that it's more catching up with what the other team is doing than what the Yankees are doing because I know that team like the back of my hand just because I'm there all the time. So if they're starting a new series or whatever, I'll do a bit more prep work. If I'm talking to somebody from the other team, I'll do a bit more prep work. But as far as Yankees guys, aside from spring training when they have more people in camp and a lot of those minor leaguers that I don't often get to talk to,
sure.
I feel like I know it,
You prep on the bus and your words come out perfect. Like I'm prepping all night, saying my words, walking around my room, like talking to myself, asking my questions. It takes a long time for me to kind of think about what I want to say. But
see, I wish I could do that, but I feel like I mess up more when
if you practice.
I'm prepared, but I also just I need it to kind of come naturally. Otherwise, I feel like I'm a bumbling moron. So
Been there.
some might say that anyway. I don't know. Okay, so you go to the
Forget that.
University of Florida, and then what was your first job out of school? And did you
I
have
was,
trouble getting a job out of school?
you know what? I didn't, but it was I was an overnight editor at a station in Sarasota, Florida, and I did the lotto numbers and the birthday. So I didn't I didn't say them. I didn't broadcast
Yeah.
them. I like edited the numbers on the screen. And I remember I put the wrong number and I gave the wrong person the lotto. So like they call in and they're like,
No.
and that was it for me. Like I realized I wasn't cut out for that. And
You thought you won $5 million. Just kidding.
psych. Um, and so a lady at my station said, "Have you ever thought about reporting? You have a lot of energy." So I said, "I'll try it." So I did the overnight shift. So it was, you know, 11 p.m. on. And I would get out at 8 a.m. and I would follow the sports director around, and whatever he would say, his name was Antoine Smith, whatever he would say, I would do too. I would record it. And I recorded it on my little VHS tape. We're so old. My VHS tape. And I sent 100 out. I'll never forget, like 100 out. And I got one call. Nobody wanted to hire me except for one person in Minot, North Dakota. And I remember when I sent the tape to Minot, I was like, whoa, just because it was a part of the world that I'd never been, and it was so cold there. And I said, oh gosh, that's going to be the one that calls. And they did. And I'm so grateful that they did, because just the most wonderful people there. I learned so much. You can mess up. I called uh, NASCAR, IndyCar. I didn't know the difference. Like you can mess up and they just love you just the same because they know you're learning. And so I was a weekend sports anchor in Minot, North Dakota for about a year and a half. And did you one man band? Did you shoot your own stuff? Get in front
Yeah.
of the camera?
So I started with a company in the Lehigh Valley, Pennsylvania area called Service Electric 2 Sports. They gave me my start when I was a sophomore in college. They had somebody they were doing, you said Lafayette, Patriot League games. They used to have men's, women's double headers.
Okay.
And the girl that had been doing it left, and I had called at the perfect time, and they remembered me from playing sports at Allentown Central Catholic, and they're like, okay, yeah, do you want to do it? We'll give you a shot. We'll give you like $50 a game.
Yeah.
My training was, this is so absurd. They handed me the mic the first time, and these are live games, Lauren. Hand me the mic and go, when the red light comes on, start talking.
Right.
No, yeah, no IFB, like no anything. It was when the red, you have no idea what's going
How
on.
do you
Oh
know when
my
to
God.
stop?
I don't think I had much to say because it was like my first gig. Couldn't believe I didn't get fired. And then that station wound up starting this sports show called Sports Scene, which was a Monday through Friday Sports Center esque kind of show where we covered high school sports and college sports. And I was still in college, so I couldn't work there full time. But they said, hey, if you want to come in a couple days a week, if you have time, or weekends, we would hire you as a photographer. And then when there's not a reporter, if you want to do the reporting, you can do that. And they used to be back in the day, which I'm sure you used too. They were called beta cams, and they were like
Oh
20 pounds
yes,
a camera.
a bazillion pounds.
9,000. It was so heavy. So I did that for a while. And then I wound up graduating, and they wound up getting the rights for a couple semi pro things. And then eventually the AA Reading Phillies, which I now think are the Fightins. And then the AAA Iron Pigs when they came there I want to say that was 2009 that they moved there. So it worked out for me, but it was a little nerve wracking. But I was doing the same VHS tapes like you were, trying to get a job right out of school that wasn't in my hometown. So I had, I want to be here. I think I can be in Market 10. It's like, no, you're not ready. You don't want to fail on that stage. It'll be horrible.
It's so
So
true.
I got a phone call from someone in Youngstown, Ohio, who asked if I could come out for an interview, and I said yes. And it was between myself and someone else. And the last question that they asked me is, if we hire you, when can you start? And I said, well, I still have a couple weeks of school and then finals. And they're like, wait, what? I was like, yeah, finals. I'm in school. They're like, you are? They had no idea that I was still in college. So
And you went.
yeah, so they went with the other person. They're like, we're not going to wait 5 months for you to finish.
But wait, from your, how long did it take you to go from a small market to the Yankees? Because that seems like a quantum leap for me.
Yeah, so I went from there to Philadelphia to do a morning show, a radio show. So I was doing the morning show, and then I was also covering the Double A Reading Phillies at night and still working for the TV station.
Yeah.
And then they got the Iron Pigs. I was doing the same thing. The morning show went away. It was probably the worst show known to mankind, but I was like third voice update anchor, whatever. Um, and then they kept me on as a reporter. So I was reporting on the Phillies, Double A, Triple A, and the major league team throughout the course of the season. So I had done that for a while. It coincided with when the Phillies were good in 7, 8, and 9. So it worked out that ESPN reached out to me
Oh my gosh.
and said, like,
Amazing.
hey, they said a show called Air Check on ESPN News. And said, hey, do you want to be a part of Air Check? The first
You're
time
like, yes, right now.
Bank Park. I've never even done TV in Philly, and I'm like,
Shaking.
I thought I was gonna crap my pants, legit.
Yeah, shaking.
Legit. So I did that. Then I went to New York. I got a job for ESPN Radio in New York, covering the Yankees and the Mets, and I was working for SNY at the time. The first ever thing I ever did for SNY was a half-hour show called Wheelhouse during the World Series between the Yankees and the Phillies. Another, oh man, I might pass out moment. But they liked me enough that when I moved to New York, they used me for stuff. From there, I went back to Philly, covered the Sixers for 2 years, and then I got the Yankees gig and moved back to New York. So here
Amazing.
we are.
What advice would you give if there are any, aspiring young girls in broadcasting or young, guys? What advice would you give?
I loved what you said about sending out all the tapes, and I think people do get frustrated by some of the rejection, and it's such a subjective business that it can hurt. It doesn't feel good. It's frustrating because I can't say to them, if you do this, this, and this is going to happen. It may not. It may not happen the way you think it is, but like you said, one person called you and said yes, and that was the start,
Yes.
and look where you are now. So if you want to do it, you continue on and do it. And with this industry in particular, I feel like only the strong survive, kind of. You've got to weather a lot of storms along the way. So I would encourage people to think big picture and then have little goals along the way to help get you there. Because I never wanted to do radio, but I got into Philadelphia faster because I did radio, and because I did that, this, and this happened, So
Yeah.
What would you say? Well, first of all, how did you get from that tiny town to MLB Network?
I went from there. I got a call from CBSSports.com to do their updates. They said, "Do you want to move to Miami and work for CBS Sports?" I was like, "Yes, please."
Yeah.
It was cold in Minot, but I loved the people. So from Minot, and then I went there, and then I auditioned at MLB Network, and the rest is history. I've been there, gosh, 8, 9 years. I love it so much. I love the game. I love the storylines. I love everything about it. So advice, gosh, it's tough. I know when I do a game and I ask everyone that I'm with, I want a snippet of what they know, like from beat reporters to reporters. Tell me what you know. Tell me something that I can do better. Tell me always looking for constructive criticism, even if you feel like, you nailed a broadcast, which you rarely feel like you do, right? Like you always feel like you can do better. And I also have, in a game, you get in a couple times in a game. I have 800 pages of notes, and sometimes, you're in a game 3 times or whatever it is, like the preparation, the over preparation to the point where you know it. Because when you know something well, I feel like you deliver it better. Just be crazy prepared that no one can ever say you don't know what you're talking about.
That's such a good point, and I think that's a big part of it. Everybody makes mistakes, and I think that's important to recognize. Even the best of the best have made mistakes in their life, but it's kind of like the reliever mentality. You can't dwell on that. You have to go to the next game and be as prepared as possible, and that'll only help you in the long run.
Do you know that I used to be in Minot? I had to operate my own camera. Can you imagine judging by what I'm doing right now?
That must have gone real
really
slow
can't
for you.
I can't even see myself. Oh, man.
What was the best part of your journey? Because you gotta savor it along the way, even though you want to get in that big job right away. The journey's kind of fun, right?
It's so true, but you don't know it when you're going through it, and it's like Steven Tyler, life's a journey, not a destination. Like if you got everything right away, you wouldn't realize how awesome it was. Do you know what I mean? Like the bad days are what make the good days so good. right? Like you have to go through all of this stuff to kind of appreciate. I remember when I went from Minot to CBS, I said, "Where's my camera and how do I white balance this camera?" I said, "No, you don't have to, do your own camera anymore." And I thought, really? Something that had become almost tedious because I wasn't good at it.
Yeah.
I longed for it. You know what I mean? Because I got to create my own shots and stuff like that. Enjoying the whole journey is something that I didn't know that I would do in the end because I was just so anxious to get next step, next step, next step. But the moments are what make it so fun.
Was
What
there
about
anyone in the industry that you, as far as females or males, that you reached out to, that you looked up to, that you feel like
yeah.
helped you along the way?
Yeah, there's one that I reached out to, and then one I just admired from afar. Leslie Visser, the only female in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. She's just incredible. The knowledge is off the charts. She could tell you the Red Sox lineup from 25 years ago. Boom.
Mhm.
35 years ago. Like it's unbelievable her knowledge. And but in terms of broadcast style and someone that you kind of try and emulate, I don't know if you know Robin Meade on CNN Headline News, but it's almost like she's speaking to a friend. They say like talk to the camera like you're a friend. Um, you'd be hard pressed to know if she's talking to a friend or if she's talking to the camera. She'll say like, "Morning sunshine, how you doing?" You're like, does she know she's on air? You know what I mean? It's just
Yeah.
that like personable warmth.
Easy breezy. It
Yeah,
makes you feel
easy.
comfortable.
Exactly. That's what I've always like tried to emulate. Doesn't work. But what about you?
Stop. Stop. It's work. It's working. You're doing something right. You mentioned Leslie Visser, and I met her for the first time 2 years ago. She's dear friends with Susan Waldman because they're
Yes.
kind of, coming up in similar circumstances. And remind me to tell you about that, what was supposed to be dinner, but just turned into I don't even know what. Probably one of my highlights of my entire Yankees traveling whatever. It was the most phenomenal meeting among two of the greatest in the business that have paved the way for people like you and I. It was
That's
really
true.
cool. And they are both a fun time to hang out with.
Oh, I bet. As
Fun
are
time.
you. I
Yeah,
live for you.
we still have to get you out with Sue sometime.
She's the best.
She is the
The
best.
Adventures of Mare and Sue.
We have to get her back on this Insta Live. She did it a little while ago. Then we did a thing where we were singing Happy Birthday to her dog Gatsby because we were going a little stir crazy. But she's been busy. She's been working for FAN now, doing pregame shows into past games and interviewing
Oh, nice.
major players within the game. So she's been busy. I miss my Suze. I haven't talked to
Love
her in
it.
a while.
Can't wait for the season. Let's get it started.
There are some questions from some people. Oh wait, I have a couple questions for you, baseball
Okay.
related. That's okay.
Yeah.
Favorite ballpark you've been to?
Ooh, Camden Yards. It starts and ends there. I mean, Oracle Park. I was going to say AT&T.
Yeah,
Oracle Park. I've never been to PNC, and everyone says that's the most. Is it? You've been everywhere.
beautiful, beautiful. No, I've been there. That I last year in San Francisco. That was my last check off. I've been everywhere else.
Yeah.
I think San Francisco is among the best.
Yeah.
And then Pittsburgh was beautiful. It was beautiful, but I don't know. There's just something about San Francisco, and it's worth a trip though. If you can get out there, I would get out there.
I remember, and the old Yankee Stadium. I remember. I remember just feeling like getting those chills. Like, gosh, I feel like all the greats have been here.
That place used to rock, and the new one does too when they're playing well.
Of course.
That old place really rocks. Now you do a lot of postseason stuff, not only for MLB Network but for TBS.
Yeah.
Do you get extra adrenaline or extra nerves when you're doing those postseason games? Did you hear
Oh,
those crowds?
well, you talked about Yankee Stadium. We did the wild card game there 2 years ago,
Yeah.
and I remember you're waiting for them to throw down to you. For your first hit, and they're like, "We welcome in the third member of our team." You're like, "Oh my gosh, how am I going to get through this?" You planned what you want to say, but yeah, here we go. And then it's the interviews with the managers and the interviews post game and the Gatorade showers, which you escape them beautifully. I need all the lessons because I'm always caught in the middle of them post game. How do you do it? I don't even know.
I do off-season agility work. No, I'm just kidding. I don't do
Apparently.
that. We both know that I've had 9,000 ankle surgeries and I have lost my first step a long time ago. So it's nothing short of a miracle if I get out of the way. Sometimes my producer gives me a heads up if he sees it coming. Sometimes they just let me wear it. And it's also a very delicate balance because you don't want to give it away for the player. You
Of
want the
course.
player to have his moment, so you don't want to be the Debbie Downer in it all and whatever. So I'd say if there are 5 a year, I avoid 3.5 of the 5. But
Not bad, honey.
there will be one where I really take it.
And your shoes are ruined.
Yeah. Oh, it's disgusting. And you know, the Gatorade in particular is crazy, gross, and sticky. Or
Then I got to wash my hair. It's a whole to
the
do.
whole thing. It's a whole thing. Occupational hazard, but we have some of the best jobs in the world, so I'm not complaining. I'm just stating facts.
It's
Okay.
true.
So
True.
you've done a lot of live stuff in the field as a reporter. You've done a lot of studio stuff. Craziest thing that's happened to you, either in studio or in the field?
Gosh. Mayor, I don't have one.
You don't have one?
What I'm gonna buy time. What about you?
Okay, I'll tell you
Flipping
mine
that
if you think
script.
it's there were two things, and I say this one all the time. One was when we were out in Oakland, and they have a parade for everything there. Like there's a parade every day. I'm like, what are we doing? Why is there always a parade on this field? And they just happen to have a dog parade, and the dogs are going around with their owners. And I'm on the air talking, and this dog starts licking my ankle, and I'm like,
What?
not okay. It's so weird. I don't even know who the dog.
Did you continue?
I was just like, I kind of like went like that a little bit and just kept going. What am I gonna say? Somebody's licking my ankle? I mean, it's weird. It's just weird. And the other one was last year we were at Tropicana. Yeah, right. My life. Last one was, or the other one was we were at Tropicana Field and the lights went out during my pregame when I was going back and forth with Bob and Jack. The issue was the tally light on the camera was still on. So I'm like, am I on? But everything else is off. I just hear yelling from the truck, and I'm like, I don't know what's happening here. Yeah.
I have not. Those are two great ones, and I have nothing. Again, back to the boring theme. I have nothing. Gatorade showers. It's probably the pinnacle.
Yeah.
And the craziest.
Do you get crazy fan mail? Because I imagine there are hardcore baseball fans that reach out to you all the time. Do you get crazy fan mail?
No, not really.
No?
Not really. What's the weirdest you've gotten?
You should take a trip into my DM.
There. You there?
Okay.
You there?
Yes, I got you now.
Sorry, love. Yes, Today's Show. It's been a dream opportunity. I've done some viral videos for them. I've also done, I created this thing because I know, there can be like I feel like there's not enough spaces where women can encourage each other. So I created this thing called Secret Admire Her. It's basically women encouraging women who are doing wonderful things in the community, whether it's your barista who serves your coffee with a smile every day, or if it's the NICU nurse who saved your baby, whatever it is, someone nominating someone in the community who's doing wonderful things and just saying, because you know how you get so many emails every day and they're just, do this, do this, do this. This is kind of like an I admire you, thanks for being you kind of thing. So we've done a couple stories on the Today Show that have been so inspirational. It's just been really a cool ride and just a little bit of a departure from sports. Sports are my first love, but that's been fun too.
That is awesome. I love it. And then I would be remiss if I didn't ask you, did you ever share a glass of AM wine with
Never.
You? No?
That needs to happen. You know me. I don't even.
Let me know because I want to tag along.
Yes, I want to be there. Okay, it's a date. Got it, girl.
You did a cool story. I love sneakers. I know you have a ton of sneakers too. You did a cool story with Blake Snell.
Yes.
You
Cy Young
created
winners.
your own sneakers, right?
Yeah, we went to the Nike lab and we created our own sneakers. They have like all different fabrics, all different colors. You can pick whatever you want. He designed for me and I designed for him. I made like a Seattle themed sneakers for him and he made like these cheetah pink and black for me. Amazing. There's so many sneakerheads in the game. How many pairs do you have?
A lot. I have probably down here in Florida about 30, 35 pairs maybe.
Do you really?
You have a problem.
All ones? I'm a one person, Jordan 1.
I love Jordans. They're not all Jordans though. There's some that are actual like running shoes and stuff like that. And then I got into a string of sparkly shoes as well. So like glitter shoes.
Whatever.
35
pairs?
Probably, roughly. And another question was from our dear friend Book from ESPN. John Shambi, he wanted to know who has a better shoe collection,
You
you or
do.
him. No, you
You
or
do.
him.
Boo.
He
No,
took
he
me on a
does.
little.
He
He took
does.
me
He
on a
has a
little
different pair every
tour.
day. Every game we do together, he has a different pair. I'm like
Yeah,
sticking with my consistent ones, but he has like, leopard print, and then he has like, rainbow print. So cool.
he took me on a little tour when he came on here of his sneaker closet, and I was thoroughly impressed. I didn't realize that he was that big of a sneakerhead, but I have to
Yeah.
get him a video of mine because I had my phone attached to this. I couldn't.
35 pairs. I'm impressed. Hey,
Yeah,
Mary, can we play a game?
sure, let's do it.
Emily Jones, the reporter for the Rangers and a dear friend, she plays Ranger Most Likely. Can we play Yankee Most Likely? Put you to the test. You know everything about the Yankees organization, all the players. You ready?
I'm nervous,
Yankee
but
Most
continue.
Likely to say it again.
I said I'm nervous, but continue.
Okay. Be very, very afraid. Yankee Most Likely to go on The Bachelor.
Oh man, I need to think of those that are single. So
Okay.
that's the tough part because I don't want to put somebody on that. You know who has like personality, and you know how The Bachelor is sometimes like the guys are such duds. I'm like, ugh, and this is what annoys me. Okay, so
Okay.
these guys go on The Bachelor and they're being produced up the wazoo.
Of course.
This is the best they're going to be. Like this is the most
And they're still,
interesting they're going to be.
and you still don't like
And
their
I'm still
personality.
like, oh my god, please help me. This
Keep
is
up with me, honey.
beyond boring. So I think there are a couple guys, and they may have girlfriends. So I no disrespect to anybody.
Sure.
But
Just
three,
personable.
the
Got
three
it.
that come to mind would be Clint Frazier because he has a ton of personality. So he'd be like the wild card. It would be a wild season of The Bachelor. Like it would
Okay,
be,
sneakerhead himself, by the way.
right. Wild card of The Bachelor. I think Aaron Judge could turn on the charm if he wanted.
Okay.
Or Giancarlo Stanton, another guy on the team that, to my knowledge, they're not married.
Okay.
So I think one of those three, and I think the ratings, it would be a ratings bonanza.
I would watch that season, all of them.
I would watch it too. That would be
Yankee
pretty.
class clown.
Tommy Canley, hands down.
Really?
He is.
Who guess that?
He's so funny though. He's a wonderful guy. He's very loud. He is very intense when it comes to sports. When the Eagles season starts, he's a huge Philadelphia Eagles fan. He literally head to toe, down to the socks and underwear, Eagles. It's crazy. He's a fanatic, total fanatic. And he's this loud, boisterous guy. But when I ask him to do something on air with me, he's like, yes, Meredith, whatever you need. And I'm like, what?
Where'd he go?
He's either screaming in the clubhouse and then he goes into this like
See, but that's what happens to the people on The Bachelor. Little camera
Oh my
shot. I
God.
understand.
I love it. He's a sweet kid though, Tommy Canley, but he's out of his mind.
Yankee most likely to, I wrote some down, eat raw egg whites.
Ooh. I don't know. Probably I would just guess Giancarlo Stanton.
100%.
He's a football player. He's huge, right?
Yes. Do you have a game for me?
Yes. Yeah. I'm gonna start with one that somebody sent in. Who would win
Oh, gosh.
the 40-yard dash? Ken Rosenthal or Matt Muskergen?
Oh, my gosh. That's an amazing question. Ken, because he's always used to deadlines.
And we've seen him running around winter meetings like nobody's business.
100%. Although Maddie plays a mean tennis and he's very in shape, I'm going with Ken. My guy.
We'll go with class clown at MLB Network.
Oh, Burns. Are you kidding me?
Burns.
Yeah, like you're walking around. First of all, an MLB Network is so cool. Like Mrs. Met is down the hallway.
Yeah.
Mariano Rivera's over there. It's so, so cool. But like we'll be walking to the cafeteria and Burns will like pop out of the gym trying to scare. We're like, it's 12 o'clock in the afternoon. Like, who has time for this? Crazy, crazy class clown. He's always wearing some weird outfit, some costume.
You know what? I've met him a couple of times. He has a ton of energy. It's insane.
A ton.
A ton. Who is most likely to forget what time the show starts and not go over to the other building? Because you know, if you walk at MLB Network, you have to walk from one building to another, and you need to allot about 6 minutes to make sure that you can get in, and get ready, and get mic'd up. Who is most likely to forget they're on the air?
Burns again. Eric Burns. You might not be there for the opening of the show, but he'll be there in the B block. You can bet on that.
Who's most likely to forget their scripts?
First of all, nobody has scripts on our show except for me because I'm an over prepared. But you know, scripts like they hinder you sometimes.
Yeah.
I'm like, I have all this paperwork. Robert and Zero are just free flowing conversation. I'm like, well, let me look at exhibit A, you know what I mean? Like with all my stats and all my numbers. But that's the beauty of live TV. Like you don't have time to look at it and it doesn't always fit into the conversation. But probably I wouldn't forget my scripts, but I'm the only one who has them.
Most likely to spill their coffee or water on set.
Out later.
I would have gone with that a million times over.
Not, I was going to say John Smoltz, but no, he's very, very put together. Al's put together as well, but he just has so many cups of coffee. Like
And
the
so
odds go up.
energy. But I spoke to him on this yesterday. And by the way, guys, that's going to be on YouTube if you didn't catch that.
Yeah.
He was still, doing a million things a minute. And he said he's cut out the sugar, he's cut out the Red Bull, he's down to 1 cup of coffee a day because he's not allowed to go out and get coffee anymore. So he uses his Nespresso machine at home. But I was like, you're so lying to me right now. I know you have more than that because it's impossible to have that much energy.
It really is. We always ask when he comes on, and our show starts at 10. We're like, how many cups in are you? He's like, 8 shots of espresso. We're like, is that healthy? Not sure.
Do you remember that time?
But you know what? He's fantastic on the air, so whatever goes.
He's great. I love him. He's always been a favorite of mine. Do you remember that time I was on MLB Central and we played a game and Al just kept not answering the questions or doing like funny stuff?
I asked him a question on the show one time. I go, what exit are you from? Because in Jersey, like that's a big thing to know where you're from, where you live. Like, what exit are you from? And I said, what exit are you from, Al? And he goes, true. I was like, what is this guy doing? He is the best. I couldn't love him more. He's just so high energy and so fun. But yes, you come on our show and it's just nonsense all the time. I almost feel bad because you're a real journalist and it's not always.
No, I love it because it's such a departure to my day to day.
Yeah.
So for me, it's so fun to pop on there. Hopefully we can do it again soon.